This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Hello and good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, Oregon has elected its first openly lesbian governor and possibly its first Latina congresswoman with another noteworthy first. We have the latest election results. Ben.
It's hard to imagine if I were in my youth being able to afford something like this.
Now, the only thing between you and owning a home in Portland is a six-figure salary. More on our current housing crisis coming up. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for our Saturday forecast.
Good morning, Tim. You were up there the other day up at Timberline, and we'll give you the live look from Timberline. What's really cool about this shot is that while the top of Mount Hood is playing peekaboo here through the cloud cover, you can see the sun starting to illuminate some of the southeastern flank over that bright white, fairly fresh snowpack. All right, switching gears, taking to the Oregon coast, the live look from Yaquina Bay. Sun peeking up to the east here, light in the boats. Boats not bopping too much, so not very breezy there. And our Wells Fargo sky camera shows the cloud cover beginning to break up over downtown as well. We had some sprinkles early this morning here across western Oregon. Those are already dissipating. Meanwhile, on the east side of the state, you folks are waking up to clouds and snow showers from basically the Cascade Crest all the way out to the Blues and the Wallowas. So a light dusting of snow possible early today out there. We're 41 here in Portland. We've slipped to 35 in Hillsboro, and east of the Cascades, a lot of temperatures at or below freezing. Right now it's 27 in Bend. The plan for today, lots of clouds to start. Those clouds quickly thin out here west of the mountains. I've got Portland topping out right around 50 degrees. Tim?
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Well, before we get to the latest election news, we want to alert you of a 911 outage in the area. Portland and Multnomah County tweeted this morning last night, anyone with a phone number that starts with 503-242 can't get through to 911 because of this outage. The agencies say it's being worked on, but we don't know yet when that service will be fixed. 911 should work from other phones.
I am speaking with you today to concede the race for governor in the great state of Oregon. It was a hard-fought battle, and this is not the outcome that we hoped for.
I'm excited to stand before you today as the governor-elect of the great state of Oregon.
Yep. Oregon has elected its first openly lesbian governor. Just last night, Republican Christine Drazan conceded to Democrat Tina Kotek. Kotek, the former state speaker of the House, declared victory on Friday. These are where the numbers stand this morning. While there are still ballots left to count, Kotek leads by about 65,000 votes. She says her top three priorities after taking office will be the homeless crisis, expanding access to mental health and addiction treatment, and unifying the state. And now to one of the most closely watched congressional races in the country, and we're talking about the battle for Washington's 3rd congressional district. This morning, that race is still too close to call. These are the latest totals. Republican Joe Kent is just a touch behind Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. She's about 5,000 votes ahead this morning. We're still waiting on Clark County to count their remaining ballots. There's about 20,000 to go. It's expected to release more numbers today at 4 o'clock. Now, Clackamas County will do the same at 6 tonight. Catherine Cook talked to Clark County elections officials about exactly what's left to process.
Friday night in Clark County, where elections officials tabulated another 24,000 votes.
We just count the ballots. We don't predict the results.
And yet, the latest numbers spoke volumes to those following the tight race for Washington's 3rd congressional district. Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez maintained a nearly 5,000 vote lead, despite Republican Joe Kent getting 158 more votes than Gluesenkamp-Perez in Clark County on Friday. With just 20,000 ballots in Clark County left to count, Kent would need a major swing in his favor to take the lead. Knowing this, Gluesenkamp-Perez's campaign shared a statement Friday night. It said, in part, "It's clear that the voters of the 3rd Congressional District are choosing Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez's approach of moderation and pragmatism over Joe Kent's toxic politics of extremism and division." Kent's campaign declined to share a statement on Friday's results, but on social media, he did ask voters to track their ballots to make sure they've been counted. Auditor Greg Kimsey says they're contacting voters by mail if their signatures didn't match their voter registration record.
Right now, there are about 4,500 voters whose signatures have been challenged and ballots have not been put forward for processing. and would encourage voters to only give their signature cure forms to an elections official or to someone they know and trust.
It's part of the system election observers like Andrew Brewer are here to watch.
You're trying to deal with the misinformation that's out there. So our job is to make sure that the information is communicated to our people and since is correct.
Brewer, a Democrat, has been volunteering as an election observer for 20 years. Around the corner, another volunteer observed on behalf of the Republican Party, though he declined to chat with us on camera.
If it's boring, that's good. Because that means processes are running good.
Elections officials are expecting the results from 15,000 more ballots on Saturday, leaving about 5,000 ballots for Monday. And again, ballots with challenged signatures must be addressed by November 28th, the day before results will be certified. In Vancouver, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Okay, and moving on to Oregon's congressional races now, starting with the 5th District race. Republican Lori Chavez-DeRemer claimed victory after the Oregonian called the race Friday morning. With over 51% of the votes, she's more than 6,000 votes ahead of Democrat Jamie McLeod-Skinner, who has not conceded. McLeod-Skinner said most media outlets have not called the race and noted there's thousands of ballots yet to be counted. Well, Chavez-DeRemer would be the first Latina elected to Congress from Oregon and the first Republican woman to win a congressional seat in the state. In a statement, she thanked her family and supporters and again touted her bipartisan track record as mayor of Happy Valley, saying in part, "That is exactly what I promised to do as your next Congresswoman. This is an historic victory for Oregon, but the work starts now." Well, over in the new 6th Congressional District, it's still unclear who its first representative will be. About 4,000 votes separate Democrat Andrea Salinas and Republican Mike Erickson. That race has not yet been called by the AP or projected by the Oregonian. One of the key issues this election season, Portland's homeless crisis. And we're getting an idea of how much the mayor's newest plan will cost, starting with $27 million in a down payment. Mayor Ted Wheeler said this will get things moving on his 5-part plan, recently approved by the Portland City Council.
It also covers the capital, site preparation, and construction costs, as well as 1 year of operations for 3 designated camping sites.
We finally have some details, too, on what those sites will look like. According to Willamette Week, the mayor's aide, Sam Adams, divulged details on a Zoom call with stakeholders. It's reporting up to 250 people could stay at each site. All must be referred by an outreach worker. Absolutely no walk-ins. It says the sites will provide 2 meals a day, basic hygiene services, and access to housing assistance with round-the-clock security. Also, no weapons or fires will be allowed, and drugs and alcohol won't be allowed in common areas. Clearly, the plan to ultimately ban sidewalk camping will not be cheap. The city says it'll need financial help from the county, state, and from Metro. Well, we know homelessness is in part a direct result of a lack of affordable housing. Prices are starting to drop in some neighborhoods, but high mortgage rates have the market pretty much on pause. Well, new numbers show you have to have a 6-figure income to afford a home in Portland. Here's Daisy Caballero with some reaction to that.
Sellers are still in shock that they can't get the prices that Redfin and Zillow were telling them that their house was worth just a few months ago.
It's no secret the housing market has changed within the last 5 years alone, and boy will it cost you a pretty penny for a new home.
Oh God. Yep, that's about right.
The Portland Business Journal took home values from Zillow and came up with the minimal annual income needed to buy a house within the Portland metro area. And you basically need a 6-figure salary. It takes $135,000 to get into a Beaverton home, $212,000 for Northwest Portland, $107,000 for Southeast, $167,000 for Southwest, and the spendy part of the metro is still Lake Oswego, where the median income level is $237,000.
That's shocking.
And that got the attention of thousands on Facebook. Jennifer saying, "I'm a teacher and I have to face the reality that I will likely never be able to own my own home with my income." Janet said, houses on my street are selling for 9 times what I paid for my house back in the late 80s. I could never afford to buy a house now. And I showed that map to a handful of people, and they all had the same reaction.
It's sticker shock. You know, it's hard to imagine if I were in my youth being able to afford something like this. So
Spurlock says buyers are in shock. They're sitting on the sidelines now until mortgage rates that are now at 7% for a 30-year fixed settle down. She's seeing sales fall through more and more, but buyers from out of the state are still moving here, but are taking their time with decisions.
So certainly we have more inventory on the market and less demand for that inventory. There are just fewer buyers that are willing to move forward with all this uncertainty, or that can afford to move forward with this uncertainty.
She anticipates housing prices to continue to go down or pause during the holidays. Things should start to pick right back up by the end of the year, and for sure by 2024. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
All right, starting today, some TriMet stops on the Blue Line will not be an option for a while. The end goal? To double MAX services into Hillsborough. Well, after the break, the inconveniences you'll see and the end goal that will hopefully make it all worthwhile.